Lots of things happening on Capitol Hill, even though the House and the Senate are out and not expected to come back until April 20th. So we've got a couple weeks to play with, but that doesn't mean things aren't happening on the ground. And in fact, they're happening very quickly. We've already passed these 3 bills, but now they are looking at a 4th. And we knew that this was coming, but we didn't realize how quickly it was coming. Just yesterday, the Treasury Secretary, Steven Mnuchin, he huddled at the White House with some of his economic advisors, and they decided that the small business loan portion of the last bill, the big $2.2 trillion bill, was not enough, that it's going to be insufficient, that it's very popular, running out of money very quickly. And so he made the rounds. He called congressional leaders, both parties, both chambers yesterday morning, and he's pitching another $250 billion for the small loan program. And that's on top of $350 billion that was in the initial bill. Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, likes the idea and wants to move very fast. He wants to vote tomorrow, Thursday, by unanimous consent, essentially daring any senators on either side of the aisle to come back and block it. And the Democrats, while supportive of the extra $250 billion, are saying, wait a minute, not so fast. We have some demands too. We have some other things that we would like to see in this package. So just this morning, Wednesday morning, Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Minority Leader Charles Schumer put out their statement and said, we like the $250 billion for small businesses, but we want to ensure that it's going to all the eligible small businesses that might partake of this, and it's not just going to those that are most successful or most well-connected. So they want some language to get those assurances. They also want half of the $250 billion, so $125 billion of that would go not through enormous lenders like the big Wall Street banks. It would go through small community lenders that tend to cater more to farmers and rural businesses and minority and women-owned businesses. So 2 kind of conditions that they want on the $250 billion, both on the borrowing side and on the lending side. And then on top of that, they want more money for hospitals and community health centers. They want an extra $100 billion for those. That's on top of about 120 that was in the first package. They also want money for food stamps for the SNAP program, which was largely left out of the initial package. They want a 15% increase in the SNAP program, which goes to help. Their claim is all these kids that are home from these schools that have been shut down might be missing meals, and so they want to make sure that those kids don't go hungry. There's the 15% increase in SNAP. And then the third component that they're asking for is $150 billion in extra money for state and local governments, which of course have had to respond to this emergency in sort of an unprecedented way. The ball is kind of in Mitch McConnell's court right now. He said, vote tomorrow. The Democrats say, wait a minute, we want these things in there. And now McConnell is going to have to come back and say either, okay, we'll put them in there and then we can pass this thing very quickly without anybody having to come back to vote. Or it could be a longer drawn fight. And again, because they're not supposed to come back until the week of April 20th, it could be very long drawn. And the pressure, of course, would be on them if this small business fund does run out of money in the meantime.
Even though Congress just passed this massive bill and is going back again to pass something else, I think the fact that it's still a sideshow compared to what the president is doing. And so 35 with 30%, that's a big don't know or unknown at this point. So I think that's the explanation.
I think most people are actually dissatisfied with the compromise that was made, both the speed of the compromise. I think disappointing people on both sides there were delays, as well as the full breadth of the relief packaging. I think for Republicans it's too large. For Democrats it's too small.
What we risk if we don't get this right, if we do not get this right, we risk small businesses across the country shutting down and big businesses experiencing a total payday with lack of accountability, further consolidating our economy. And that will create a generational issue. If we think income inequality is bad now, we really need to make sure that we get this right to prevent the worst possible outcome.
This would be the 4th bill The third one was the 2.2 trillion. This would be the third bill, but they're calling it an interim bill. So this, again, just dedicated to the small business part of it that's being exhausted very quickly. And then there would be another bill after that, call it Bill 5. And Pelosi and the House Democrats are already putting that together. She said it's going to be more than $1 trillion, and that would have more money, direct cash payments. It could be something closer to $2,000, but we haven't seen a figure on that. The legislative language is not out on that just yet, and we don't expect to see that before next week.